At the start of the story, we meet Sarah and Henry. Sarah is Henry's fiance, and today he is driving her to Las Vegas to her father's house. They decided to make the trip by car so they could spend more time together and enjoy talking along the way. Everything is going great until their car suddenly hits something. The impact is so strong that the car swerves off the road. Henry quickly gets out to see what animal they might have hit, but there is nothing there. He looks around, but the road is completely empty. Even the car's tires are in perfect condition. Everything seems normal, as if nothing ever happened. So why did they feel such a powerful impact? Deciding not to think too much about it, they continue their journey, convincing themselves it was probably just their imagination. A while later, Henry notices a black Mustang following them. It keeps getting closer at a very high speed. He points it out to Sarah, but she laughs it off, saying it's probably just some reckless kid looking for a race. She tells Henry to speed up, so he does. But the black Mustang speeds up too. Henry signals for the car to pass, yet it refuses to overtake them and simply stays right behind them. Its strange behavior starts making both of them uneasy. Soon they spot a gas station and pull over. The black Mustang finally drives past them. Sarah doesn't want to stop because she wants to reach her father's house as soon as possible. But Henry convinces her that since they've already stopped, they might as well grab something to eat first. She agrees, and they head inside the cafe. While they're talking, Henry tells Sarah that maybe they're rushing into marriage too quickly. He says that since her father isn't doing well, maybe they should wait a little longer. Sarah doesn't like hearing that at all because she wants to get married as soon as possible. Before their argument can get any worse, a waitress walks over. Henry asks her to bring them some water first and says they'll order food later. She brings them bottled water along with a few coins. When they ask about the coins, she explains that it's a local tradition. Customers can put the coins into the jukebox and play their favorite song. As she's leaving, she says something very strange. She tells them to make the most of every opportunity because not many living people come here. Henry doesn't seem to pay much attention to her words. He takes one of the coins to the jukebox and plays a song. At that exact moment, we see the same black Mustang parked outside the cafe, and the very same song is playing inside that car as well. Back inside, Sarah tells Kelly that Henry actually wrote and sang the song himself. Kelly compliments him after hearing that. They soon pack some food for the road and leave because they still have a long drive ahead and want to arrive before dark. This time, Sarah is driving. Her eyes are fixed on the road, but suddenly the car runs over something again. Both of them are terrified because Sarah is certain she never looked away from the road, and there was absolutely nothing in front of them. Henry says he'll go outside and check. Maybe this time they really did hit something. Meanwhile, back at the cafe, Kelly tells the owner that the couple has just left. She asks if they have to do the same thing to them as well. A young woman sitting nearby says they should let the couple go because they haven't done anything wrong, but the owner replies that they have to do their job. The girl has bruises all over her hands and tears fill her eyes. It's obvious that she's trapped in some terrible situation, but we still don't know what's really going on. Back on the road, Sarah and Henry start arguing. They're both exhausted by everything that's happening. Sarah gets frustrated because she believes they've somehow ended up back at the exact same place where they stopped the first time. Henry refuses to believe it because it doesn't seem possible. Just then, Sarah looks behind them and sees the same black Mustang parked there once again. Henry immediately asks for the car keys, but this time Sarah decides not to run away. Instead, she walks straight toward the Mustang and tells the driver to roll down the window. The moment she sees the man inside, she's horrified. Sitting behind the wheel is a terrifying man with an almost demonic appearance. Sarah immediately runs back to their car, and they speed away as fast as they can, almost like they're in a race. After driving for a while, they realize the car has run out of fuel. They can't afford to stop in the middle of the road, but luckily they spot the same cafe again and pull into the parking lot. The black Mustang drives right past them. As soon as they enter the cafe, Sarah asks Kelly if she can use the phone. Kelly smiles and says yes. Sarah quickly steps outside and calls the police. She tells them that a strange car has been following them for a long time, and that there's a frightening man inside it. The person on the other end says it will take a few hours for the police to arrive, so they should stay where they are and remain safe. At the same time, a major secret is revealed. The call Sarah thought she made to the police actually went directly to John, the owner of the cafe. But why would he do something like that? What is he really planning? Sarah and Henry ask Kelly for another coin, but she refuses and says each customer only gets one. Just then, Rubica says she has an extra coin in her car and offers to bring it. Before she can leave, John walks in and stops her. Henry tells John about the crazy man chasing them and trying to kill them. John calmly says it's probably just some disturbed person who enjoys scaring people. Henry gets angry and says this isn't a joke because that man is trying to kill them. John tells him to calm down and says they're welcome to stay stay in the cafe. He assures them that they're not alone and that everyone there is with them, so they have nothing to fear. He tells them they're safe. Henry then asks how they somehow ended up back at the same place. John explains that there's a loop in the road ahead and they must have gotten trapped in it, which is why they ended up back at the cafe. Just then, Sarah comes back inside and says she managed to call the police and they should arrive in a few hours. John tells them to sit down and explains that Rubica is one of their regular customers, but she's mentally unstable. He tells them not to worry because everyone there is used to her, and soon they will be too. With that, John hands Sarah a coin. She takes it and goes to call her father. This time, the call connects. On the other end of the call, Sarah's father only manages to tell her that he's waiting for them there. Before he can say anything else, the line fills with loud static and Sarah can't hear another word. At the same time, we see John forcing Rubica toward room 17 at the motel behind the cafe. Crying, Rubica tells him she's not ready yet. John coldly replies that the more she resists, the more terrifying it will become for her. Through her tears, she tells him that the beast he's feeding will never be satisfied. But John ignores her completely, shoves her into room 17, and locks the door from the outside. Meanwhile, Sarah and Henry finish eating. Mark, the cafe's chef, brings them the bill. Before they can look at it, John walks over, takes the bill from Mark's hand, and tells them that today's meal is free. The bill had the word "run" written on it, showing that Mark already knew what terrible fate was waiting for them. Sarah is becoming more uncomfortable with everything around her. Ever since they arrived, the bright sunlight outside hasn't changed at all. It feels as if time itself has stopped. John tells them they should get some rest because they've been through a lot already. He says a room has been prepared for them. They get up and follow him. On the way, Sarah asks John if any other customers have ever complained about the Black Mustang. Trying to avoid the question, John tells her she's worrying for no reason and should just relax in her room. Something else suddenly feels strange to Sarah. She wonders how John knows her name. Henry always calls her baby, so he never mentioned her name out loud. Just then, Sarah notices a shadow in the room next to theirs. It looks like a young woman desperately trying to get help. She points it out to Henry, and now both of them are convinced that something is seriously wrong with this place. At the same time, John keeps pressuring them to go inside their room. Realizing the situation is getting worse, Sarah and Henry immediately run back to their car and drive away. John tries to chase them but can't catch up. Mark and Kelly come outside and ask John what happened. Furious, John tells them that if the couple escapes, neither of them will be spared. Kelly says they should help them instead, but John snaps back, saying they're already dead, so there's no point in helping them anymore. As they speed down the road, Sarah spots the man dressed in black standing by the roadside. She tells Henry that he's the same man who was driving the Black Mustang. Something is definitely wrong. Henry agrees. He says it feels like someone is hunting them, and the cafe owner clearly knows everything. Instead of helping them, he chose to take advantage of the situation. Back at the cafe, Mark is packing up all of Rubica's belongings from her room because she's no longer alive. As he looks through her things, he feels sick with guilt. His conscience can't handle what they're doing anymore. He goes straight to John and says they need to stop all of this. But John tells him this is their job, and things have always been this way. Meanwhile, Sarah and Henry continue driving at full speed. Suddenly, Sarah's phone rings. It's her father calling, but when she answers, all she hears are terrifying, unnatural sounds. Even stranger, those same sounds begin coming through the car's radio. Both of them are deeply disturbed. Moments later, the car runs over something once again. This time, they don't stop. Instead, Henry pushes the car even faster. Looking in the mirror, they see that the Black Mustang is chasing them again. They keep driving for their lives. After a while, the same cafe appears once more. Outside, John, Mark, and Kelly stand watching them. Mark says he thinks the couple might actually survive this time because they've shown real courage. John, however, doesn't believe that. Suddenly, Sarah slams on the brakes, causing the Black Mustang to speed past them. She quickly turns the car around and drives in the opposite direction. After driving for a while, they look back and realize the Black Mustang is gone. Around the same time, Henry notices something even stranger. Ever since they started their trip, the time hasn't changed at all, even though they've been driving for hours. He begins to suspect they're trapped inside some kind of time loop. Neither of them has any explanation, but all they want is to escape this place. Sarah is starting to lose hope. They've been driving along the same road for almost 3 hours. This time, they haven't seen the cafe or the Black Mustang, but somehow, the road still feels exactly the same. Henry tells her they're making progress. They just need to keep driving at a steady speed. They take turns behind the wheel and continue forward. Several more hours pass before Sarah wakes Henry and tells him something doesn't feel right. She feels as though she's driven down this road thousands of times. Henry notices that even after all these hours, the fuel gauge hasn't moved at all. Now he's completely convinced they're trapped inside a loop, and someone created it. He says the only way to break the loop is to stop following the road. They have to leave the car behind and walk into the desert instead. Only then might they find a way out. Sarah hates the idea because walking through the burning desert is almost certain death, but Henry reassures her. He promises he'll protect her and tells her to trust him. Believing him, they get out of the car and begin walking into the desert. Back at the cafe, Kelly tells Mark they should save them. She says she's not as worried about Sarah and Henry as she is about the baby growing inside Sarah. This reveals that Sarah is pregnant. Mark says he's tried many times before, but it never changed anything. After walking for quite a long distance through the desert, Sarah and Henry come across an overturned car. There are bloodstains all over it. As they get closer, they realize something horrifying. It's their own car. Staring at it in shock, Henry says they already died inside this loop. The moment Sarah hears that, she breaks down in tears. In the distance, the same man dressed in black is silently watching them. Filled with rage, Henry charges toward him, ready to fight. But the demonic man quickly overpowers him and seriously injures him instead. Terrified, Sarah and Henry run back the way they came until they reach their other car, which is still completely undamaged. This time, Sarah gets behind the wheel and drives as fast as she can. The black Mustang is still right behind them. They pass the cafe again without stopping, but only a short time later, the cafe appears in front of them once more. The third time, it shows up even faster than before. Sarah realizes the loop is shrinking. Meanwhile, Henry's condition is getting much worse. He needs medical help immediately. With no other choice, Sarah is forced to stop at the cafe again. She rushes Henry inside and asks Kelly where John is. Kelly points toward the entrance. Outside, John is standing there, staring at the black Mustang. Sarah runs straight toward him. Seeing how devastated Sarah is, John realizes it's finally time to tell her the truth. He explains that they were actually in a terrible car accident. Right now, their real bodies are still lying on the road, covered in blood. The Sarah standing in front of him isn't her physical body anymore, it's her soul. John tells her that this place exists between the world of the living and the afterlife. It's where the souls of people who die in road accidents are brought. Their job is simply to help them, by giving them one last meal they enjoy and a peaceful place to rest before moving on. Sarah asks if the man dressed in black came to take them away. John nods and says yes, he came here for them. Sarah is heartbroken after hearing this, but John tells her there is still a chance. The baby growing inside her is still alive, and Henry is also still alive. At that moment, Henry regains consciousness. He asks Kelly if he's already dead. Kelly tells him that he's not dead yet, but he is slowly dying. Meanwhile, John explains to Sarah that the man in black has been pressuring them. However, the agreement was only to take Sarah and Henry, not their unborn baby. The child is still alive, and even if the baby survives, what kind of life would it have without its parents? That's why she still has one final chance to save both herself and Henry. Just then, Mark arrives and asks John for the keys to Sarah's car. John immediately hands them over. After that, John speaks with his boss. He explains that their agreement only involved Sarah and Henry, but now there's an unborn child as well, and he refuses to make that mistake. His boss tells him to do whatever he believes is right. John gives Mark a signal, and Mark quickly drives away in Sarah's car. The man dressed in black sees this and becomes furious because he believes they're trying to save the couple. He immediately chases after Mark. Suddenly, Mark turns the car around and drives straight toward him at full speed. A collision is unavoidable. Mark knows that if the man in black survives, Sarah and Henry will never make it. Without hesitation, he crashes into him at full speed. The impact kills the man in black, and Mark also loses his life. With that, the story comes to an end. The truth is that Sarah and Henry had already been involved in a serious car accident at the very beginning. They weren't completely dead, but they were hanging on to their final breaths. That's why their souls were trapped inside this mysterious loop between life and death. Once John and the others discovered that Sarah was pregnant, they decided to give her, Henry, and their unborn child one last chance to live. To make that possible, they destroyed the very being that had come to take them away. And with that, the story ends. If you enjoyed this movie, let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you in the next video with another new and interesting story. Until then, take care.